We work? Yay. Okay. We're going to talk about bridging, and I'm glad that everyone's had a coffee because I'm going to need your close attention. Bridging is a technique that is fairly simple in theory and in practice, but it's crucial to learn. Bridging is a technique that you will use in all aspects of your life, and once you understand the basics of bridging, it will last you forever. And bridging is basically, it's a technique that allows you to orient the debate in the direction that you want. Remember, we said earlier that we have two choices in a debate. Now, this is a debate, a conversation, anything that involves two people, right? There are only two ways we can go. We're going to, as I said earlier, we can talk about what you want to talk about, or we can talk about what I want to talk about. What bridging does is gives you the control to make sure that we talk about what you want to talk about. And it's basically the idea, if we're going down a road like this, and you start going this way, but you want to take this road, and the person who's criticizing you starts to go down this road. So what bridging allows you to do is to cross over till you go to your road. That's the basic idea, okay? So, you want to, as much as possible, maintain control of your narrative. Everybody has a narrative, a story to tell. When you go into a debate, in your head, you should have a story that you're going to tell, and that story is the story that you want to see in the newspapers, or that you want the person on television to outline when they're giving a news report. So, it's a technique. A lot of people are unhappy. They don't like bridging because they think that bridging is impolite. Because basically what it does is, I say, you're talking about A, and I say, that's very interesting. However, the important thing here is B. So I think that we should talk about B, and you're there, well, B is very interesting. However, I think that the people are interested in A. So as I was saying about A, so you go back to your idea. And people get unhappy because they think it's rude. Too bad. The point here is to control the narrative and to control the debate and to control what we're talking about. We want to talk about your issues, not their issues. Okay? So that's the general idea. So, there are an infinite number of bridges, as you will see in a minute. Yes?
تفسير بالمفهوم العربي انه ايجاد نقاط وسط بين الناس حتى يلتقوا عليها انه من
sorry. Whoa, stop. Sorry.
اوكي.
Okay, can we start again?
التفسير لغويا بالعربي بيشير الى انه تبحث عن نقاط التقاء وسط اللي تعمل جسور بين الناس، يعني من كلمة بريدج جسر، يعني هون انه مختلف تماما عن المفهوم ده. ف يعني
Welcome to English.
إضافة يعني يفترض الترجمة مو تكتب أنا نفس الشيء صلحتها مو تجسير العبور. إحنا حتى نعبر لا نقول كلمة، يعني الترجمة هنا اللي مترجمة إنها غير صحيحة، مذكورة التجسير إقامة علاقة، ولكن إحنا لا نقصد بهذه، ما تقصد أنت بالعلاقة، تقصد العبور، فيفترض يعني تكتب العبور
لأنه الجسر بوصل بين نقطتين.
نعم.
بين نقطتين، فهو يعني انه في علاقه.
Okay, stop. Let's not get lost in semantics here. We are going from one point to another. The whole point of bridging, no matter what it's called, it is going from where your partner, where your opponent wants to go, back to where you want to go. Okay, so that's the general. That's the theory. That's the word that we use. Is there a better word? I don't want to get lost in a
No,
long...
maybe the word she used would have been easier to understand, but I have something to confirm what you were saying. هو بيقدر يعتبرها انه فكرة الشخص الأول تستعمليها كجسر تتصالي على فكرتك. عرفتي كيف؟ انه تستعملي فكرة الأول مش توصلي على حل وسط بين الفكرتين، تستعملي فكرته تتوصلك على فكرتك. عبور انه
أو مرة من فكرة لفكرة.
صح، من فكرتك لفكرته، من فكرته لفكرتك، صح. انه تستعمليها جسر تتصلي لفكرتك.
لا ممكن مداخلة لغوية طالما ممكن الأخوات في العراق قالوا كلمة عبور، بس أنت لما الأخوات اللي قالوا فلسطين والعراق إنه هي عبور، لما نقول جسر إن أنا عندي نقطة ثابتة وعندي نقطة ثابتة، هذا هو رأيي. المعارض يدخل في الوسط يحاول يقطع لي رأيي، فأنا أسوي بريدجينج بين رأيي بين النقطة اللي قطعه هذا، فهذا هو التجسير. لكن في العربية تستعمل التجسير لإقامة علاقة. العربية الآن المصطلح.
Excuse me. الربط أو استكمال الفكرة، يعني إحنا ممكن نكون مبلشين في فكرة حتى نستكملها، هذا معنى التجسير. يعني مثلا ممكن ياخذ دبلوم بالجامعة نحكي تربية الطفل، بعدين بيرجع بيجسر سنة ثالث ورابعة بالجامعة هيك بكمل بكالوريوس، هو نفس الفكرة لكن استكمالها.
يا ريت لو ان حد عنده المصطلح باللغه العربيه تعطوا لنا افضل. شنو يقابلها باللغه العربيه؟
Have we got a general idea here that the bridge is to get from A to B? It's not a question of compromise. In fact, it's just the opposite. We are going down this way, and I want to go that way, and he wants to go that way. So as he takes me this way, I bridge. And I go this way so that we get back to where I want to go. So I take the bridge. Okay, are we relatively comfortable? Yeah? Okay. If you get lost, or if it really doesn't make sense, let me know. Otherwise, I think we're there. Okay. A bridge is the use of language which allows you to maintain control of a discussion. Okay? And done well, a bridge that's done well, people don't notice that it happened, as you'll see in a few minutes. Okay? Bridges can be used in any situation. As I said earlier, it can be used talking to your children, to your husbands, to your colleagues. It can be used in debate. It can be used in any situation when two people are talking. All right, so common bridging phrases, and we're going to get into this. You can see them here. I hope they all translate relatively well. And I won't go through them, but you can just read them yourself there, because we're going to go through them in a few minutes. But these are some of the common bridging phrases. And basically what it is someone criticizes you, and then you use this phrase to get away from their criticism and to start talking again about what you want to talk about. Okay? And that's the whole point of the bridge. All right? And this will, bridging allows you to repeat your messages in different ways, as you will see. And that's, again, one of the things that we want to do, is to repeat our messages as many different ways as we can. So I'm just, all right, so that's, I don't want to get lost in detail here. So that's basically what a bridge is. All right, so there's the position statement. Okay, now, this is a concept that it'll take a couple seconds to deal with. A position statement is a statement that is a statement of what you believe about an issue. And it's a statement that no one can attack because it's all positive. For example, our political party, or I, believe that all children have a right to education, to be educated. That's a position statement. If the debate is about education, for example, I have a position statement, which is about me, and it is, I believe that all children have a right to be educated. Right? There are 1,000 different positions. It could be, I believe only rich children should get university education, or I believe only people that live in capital cities should be able to go to high school. There can be any number of positions. But your position, what's called the position statement, is something that you take into a debate that is unattackable, that is positive. Okay? Now, so the debate is about education. So your position is, I believe all children have the right to an education. Now, how do we use this? When we're talking about education, the debate is about education, and you get into trouble. Now that can be you get into trouble because your opponent attacks you and you don't know what to say, or you're just looking for a few minutes to collect your thoughts. Okay? Because this happens in debate. You're there, and this can be used for discussions, interviews with journalists, any situation. So somebody asks you a question and you don't have an answer right away. So you use the position statement. So he says to you, you're a member of the government, and your government has just cut a big amount of money from the university budget or from the school's budget. This is not good. So you don't like children, or what do you have against children? You've cut the budget for children's education. You're not sure what you're going to say. So you don't want to sit there and say nothing. So the first thing you do is you think, aha, position statement. Well, look, in response to your question, the first thing we have to remember is that this government and me personally, we both believe strongly that every child has the right to an education. Nobody can attack that. It gives you 30 seconds to think elsewhere, what am I going to say in response to that attack? Okay, so that's the first thing. It gives you time to think. It also enunciates a position. It gives you a position that nobody can attack. Who can attack that? We agree that all children should have an education. And in worst case scenario, if you're really stuck, you stop talking. It's an answer. It stands by itself. Why have you cut all of this money for children's education? We believe that every child deserves a proper education. Then you wait. That's your answer. Then the person will say, well, all right, you believe everybody has an education, then why did you cut all the money? That gives you an extra 5 or 6 seconds to think of an answer as the other person is reformulating the question. Okay? So a position statement is a tool that you use that gives you time to think when you get into trouble. So rather than sit there and go, or to say, I don't know. You can say something positive, you can fill the space with that, with the position statement, and it gives you time to think. And it's a sentence that everybody can agree with. So you get attacked, you're not sure what to say, you put your position statement up there, and then you either let it sit and the other person responds again, which gives you even more time to think, and then hopefully by the end of that 6 seconds, 12 seconds, 15 seconds, you've come up with a new answer. You've come up with an answer. Or he switches and he says, whatever, let's move on, and then you're on to another question. So it's important as you go into a debate to think, if it's on one subject, to have a position statement like that. And it is a statement that is short, and it's what's called a feel-good statement. That means it's all positive. Nobody can attack. It's something that gives and doesn't take away. It's not negative. It's all positive. Okay? Is everybody fine with that? All right. Now, examples of a position statement. Again, is that where we are? Is that what that says? Examples of a position statement? Our party strongly supports a policy of ensuring that all children have the right to attend school. Very positive. Nobody can attack that. I believe in transparency and honesty in political life. So if you're under attack, if you're going out to debate or you're doing a TV interview and there's been a scandal, and they say, well, look at this scandal. This is terrible. How do you explain this minister who took money? And you say, well, look, first off, let me say that this government, or I personally, believe in transparency and honesty in political life. You take the high ground. Then you can go off and say whatever you want, but you've established a position. And hopefully, if it's done right, you'll get a media clip out of it, or a TV or a newspaper clipping. If you sit there and you look at the camera and you say, I believe, this government believes in transparency and honesty in political life. Pause before, pause after. It's a clip of something that they can use. And if you don't get onto television using a statement like that, there's something wrong with the television. Okay? It's very positive. Or the other one, third possibility, is we're firmly committed to protecting and supporting the environment. Everybody's in favor of that phrase. Nobody can attack you for using that phrase. So you see the type of feel-good, all-purpose phrase that you can use that allows you to respond to attacks, gives you time to think, can't be attacked, stands on its own. Okay? So it takes time to get your mind around how to make one of these sentences, but once you've got it down, then you should never go into any sort of a discussion where you think you're going to come under criticism or attack without that there. Because it allows you always to take the high ground. When you're being criticized, this is wrong what you did. You were corrupt. You lied. You did this. You were bad. You made a mistake. Look, I firmly believe. Then you use your position statement. It might not mean anything, but it's a good way, as I said, to give you time to take the high ground, etc. All right? So, together, bridging phrases along with your position statement will allow you to get out of or to deal with any sort of a negative situation that you find yourself in. And you might look a little skeptical now. Believe me, I have used this countless times in practical, everyday situations, and they work. I have trained members of Parliament more than I can count, and there are huge numbers of bridging phrases. And what they do, and what we teach them, we train them, is to find the 2 or 3 that you like, and then learn them. And they have all come back and said, yes, this is great. Because every time I get criticized and I don't have an answer, or I just need a few seconds to think, and I don't want to sit there and go like this in front of the camera, I use those phrases, and then my training kicks in, my experience kicks in, I think of some facts, and away I go. And I'm able to keep control. Because if I don't answer the question, then the critic keeps going. You should never have done this. No answer. As I said, you should never have done this. You're bad, da-da-da-da-da. The critic keeps talking. Well, all the time that the critic talks, you're not. So you're not passing your message. So whether this is a 30-second interview with a journalist or a 3-hour debate, The more that the other guy talks, the less that you're talking. So the point is, keep control of the debate or the discussion. Keep control of the narrative, i.e. what we're talking about. And you use this, use the position statement and the bridging phrases to go back to your main messages. This is a link between what they were saying and your main messages. Because remember, you go into every discussion with 3 key messages. So you use the bridges to allow you to get back there. So let's look at some examples here. Editorializing. This is when people take your opponent, and it could be a journalist, or it could be anybody you're talking to. It could be a colleague who starts to criticize you over something. They make a general statement, just a general. We all know in a newspaper there are editorials. So they make what's called an editorial comment. So they say, everybody knows that your policy on immigration has been a failure. That's an editorial, that's an opinion. It's not a fact, it's an opinion. So the person says to you as the government minister, everybody knows that your government's policy on immigration has been a complete failure. So she has taken the ball and ding, it's up to you to respond, right? So among all of the different possibilities is this one where you say, that's one view. However, as far as I am concerned, and then you give an answer. So, for example, where is Stephanie? So, I'm the interviewer, and Stephanie's the minister in the government. So I say, Minister Ray, I've been looking around and talking to people, and everybody knows that your policy on immigration has been a complete failure. How do you respond to that charge?
Mr. Stairs, that is one view. However, as far as I'm concerned, our immigration policy has reunited more families in this country, brought together women and children and fathers and sons to live together. And then I lost it. Under the same roof.
That's fine. But, okay, so you get the general idea that I attack, I say, everyone knows that your policy has been a failure, which is just a general thing. So what she did is she acknowledged the question by saying that's one view, and then she ignored it. And she went back to her key messages, which is, as a government minister, she had her key messages, which were, this government has done all kinds of things for children, etc., etc. So then she gets out her key messages. Okay, is this,
Sorry, when he says that everybody says that,
yes.
You know, everybody, it's a unanimous in the country, for example, that everybody's, it's not only my opinion, it's that everybody says that. So my response is, that's your opinion?
Yes. Because it's his opinion that everybody says it. How does he know? I mean, he is saying, look, everybody thinks that you guys are doing a bad job. How do you know? That's your opinion. That's what you hear. That's what you think. You haven't spoken to everybody, all 37 million people.
No.
That's just your opinion.
Okay.
So that's one view, but, so, everybody get the general idea? All right. So what I'd like, I just want to take a couple seconds here. Minister of Education. You're the Minister of Education. Okay? So I am going to say to you, if you could push your little button there. No, you're, say something. Okay? So I am going to say what Stephanie and I just did. Okay? I'm going to say to you this. And you are going to respond here. And then this part, right over here, those 3 dots, that's when you're going to come up with something. You're just going to think of something. Okay? All right, so pressure's on. All right, so it's very simple. We're going to go through this and you'll see. So I'm going to say, Madam Minister, everyone knows that your government's policy on education has been a complete failure. What do you say to that?
هذا هو رأيكم، ولكن بالنسبة للحكومة قامت بتقديم خدمات هائلة للجانب التربوي، واهتمت وخصصت ميزانية خاصة لتقديم خدمات أكثر وأكثر بجانب التعليم والتربوي، وفي مجال بناء مدارس ومنهجية الدراسة، وأيضا إقامة الدورات للمعلمين والمدرسين للقيام بتربية الأطفال وجيل على التربية الجديدة.
Yes, rock on. Okay, so I'm going to try this again. Mademoiselle, you are the Minister of Finance. Everyone knows, Madam Minister, that your finance policy has been a complete failure. How do you respond to that?
حسناً، على ما يبدو أنكم قمتم بأخذ وجهة نظر جهة معينة، وقمتم بتجاهل جهات أخرى. قامت حكومتنا بإجراء العديد من التعديلات في القانون الاقتصادي، جلب الكثير من الاستثمارات، تقديم رفع مستوى الدخل للمواطنين العاديين، وهناك إنجازات ظاهرة على أرض الواقع تثبت ما أقول.
Perfect. See? Well done. All right. Madame, right here. I haven't got my glasses on, but I can see, I know, let me walk up here. I know exactly who I'm going to talk to. There we go. So, you are the Minister of the Environment. Okay? And I'm going to say to you, Madam Minister, everyone knows that your government's policy on the environment has been a complete failure. How do you respond to that?
هذا يعني هو هذا رأي يعني رأيك واحد، ولكن احنا اهتمينا بالبيئة على مستوى الوزارة والبلدان، انه احنا عندنا اهتمام بالبيئة مثلا بالنظافة، محافظتنا على الأشجار، على المياه. فهذه يعني من رأيك انت، بس احنا لقينا سوينا شغلات كثيرة واشتغلنا على البيئة بأرض الواقع، وهي مبين على انه شغلنا انه واضح للكل.
Perfect. Excellent. See? There. It's as easy as that. So, you're criticized. You acknowledge what he said. That's your opinion. Now, we're going to talk about what I want to talk about. This government has done A, B, C, D. You just ignore what they say. Okay? So there's your opportunity. Instead of talking about what they want to talk about, you talk about what you want to talk about. Yes?
يعني بحب أحطكم بصورة إشي عملي إحنا عملناه من شهر على تيسير المواقف بشكل بيان موقف، إعلان موقف. بعد رجوع المفاوضات الفلسطينية الإسرائيلية كان في احتجاج فلسطيني كبير على الأسس اللي بتعتمد عليها المفاوضات باعتبارها خارجة عن الشرعية الدولية، قرارات الشرعية الدولية. وأصدرت الأحزاب مواقف يعني معارضة لهذه المفاوضات، واستثنت النساء من التشاور وأصدروا المواقف. اجتمعت النساء من 20 يوم وقررنا نعمل بيان موقف. هذا البيان يقر بوجود المفاوضات ويعارضها، ولكن يطالب بإصلاح المفاوضات أن تكون وفق الشرعية الدولية. وعند ذلك عندما تتصحح طالبنا بمشاركة المرأة بالمفاوضات. إنه عدم إقصائها عن التفاوض. فأقرينا بالمفاوضات، لكن طلبنا بإصلاحها السياسي وإصلاحها بخصوصية مشاركة المرأة. فعملنا تجسير من خلال إعلان موقف.
Exactly. Yep, that's it. Okay, so next one, and I'm just going to quickly go through some of these. Limited options. Limited options is a very popular one. And basically what it says is it's an either-or statement. And in this case, either you were unaware or you deliberately chose to ignore it. So this is a common rhetorical device. So there is a problem. Either you were unaware or you deliberately said, I don't care. So you've got to respond to this. Someone has said, they've accused you of either being unaware or deliberately ignoring them. So the idea here is you don't have to accept either. You go back, you ignore them. You go to your message. So you completely ignore what they say, and you say, what is important to remember here is, and then you go to talk about what you want to talk about. So either, madam, either you're completely stupid or you did it on purpose. Oh, no. Thank you. What's important to remember here is that our government, and then away you go with your answer. Okay. All right, so that's what's called limited options. Another one is, yes?
عفوا. والله هذه الأسئلة يعني إحنا شايفيها في الواقع حياتنا، لأن هناك الأحزاب السلطة والأحزاب المعارضة في إقليم كردستان. طبعا الحزب المعارض، لأن تجربة المعارضة تجربة جديدة في الشرق الأوسط، لا السلطة سلطة حقيقية ولا معارضة حقيقية. طبعا المعارضة يرى كل شيء أسود، يعني بس يتحدث حول النقاط السلبية ويشملها، يقول الكل. يعني فعلا نفس السؤال اللي انت سألتني على التربية كأني وزيرة التربية، هم سألوها على وزير التربية في مقابلة تلفزيونية، مع العلم يعني في خدمات تربوية وإعمار، وهذا نفس السؤال يسألوا دائما، يتحدثوا حول نقاط السلبية بالنسبة للخدمات التربية، كهرباء، مع العلم كهرباء موجودة في إقليم كردستان 24 ساعة، بس دائما يتحدثوا بنوع سلبي على قطاع الكهرباء. شكرا.
When you're in opposition, your job is always to attack. It can, as they say, when you're in opposition, they use the example of the Bible, the Christian Bible, when at one point Christ walked across the lake, and the opposition people were there, look, he can't swim. So this is the idea of being constantly negative as an opposition party. That's what your job is. And as the government, as the MP, your job is to be constantly positive. So you're using the bridging phrase to go back to this constantly positive key messages. Okay? All right, so multiple choice. I need a minister. Minister. Here we are. Are we on multiple choice? We are. Minister, look, we're here talking about the economy. And there are only really 3 options here. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. Which one of these options do you support?
I'm in the opposition.
No, you're the minister. So which one, there are only 3 options here to fix the economy. Which one do you support? Does that translate well?
Yes.
Eh? Okay, so I'm offering you 3 choices. You ignore them. Because if you start talking about 1, 2, or 3, you're talking about my stuff. And what you want to do is talk about your stuff. So I say, look, Minister of Finance, there's a problem here. Your government only has 3 options. There are only 3 ways to fix the problem. 1, 2, or 3. Give more money, raise taxes, stop immigration. Those are the only 3 choices. Which one are you going to do? And then your answer is to ignore what I say and to say, the real issue here is, now you got to think on your feet. You got to come up with an answer. All right?
القضية الحقيقية هنا أن مشروعنا في تدعيم الاقتصاد في البلد كان له عدة نقاط إيجابية. فبالنسبة لكل الاقتراحات كانت الهجرة قد ساهمت في بناء في التنمية داخل الوطن، وذلك بعدم ترك الأموال تخرج من خارج البلاد، واستعملنا الهجرة والأموال المهاجرين في التنمية المحلية. كما أن
That's it, no? That's it. Yeah. Doesn't have to be long, but that's the idea. Exactly. Perfect. Okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Here.
Where are we?
Yeah.
Yes.
If the minister always ignore the opposition with the choices that they're giving, doesn't that show the minister that probably he doesn't know, or that he doesn't have a clue, or because probably the opposition is talking in the name of the people, and they're giving him these 3 choices, and he's completely ignoring them.
Yes, because
where does that put him?
That puts him in control of the debate. The point here is not to have a conversation. The point here, as a government minister, is to drive a message.
Yeah, but the message will be his message?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The government.
Only his,
Yes. I mean, as the opposition, I'm going to criticize you no matter what you do.
Yeah.
I don't care. No matter what decision you make, my job is to say, that's great, but it's the wrong idea. You're wrong. You made a mistake. You're wasting money. People are dying. No matter what you do, I'm going to criticize it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in politics as the opposition. Your job is, no matter what I say, is to stick up for the government. And if I say, look, there are only 3 ways to fix this problem, that means that you have to choose one of my ideas. You say, that's a great, thank you very much, but the real issue here is not 1, 2, or 3, it's 4. This is where the real issue is. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what this government is trying to do. This is what we've been trying to put into practice, but you people keep stopping us. Okay? Now, it's not only just the government minister, it can be the other way around. The government minister during a debate could say, you people in the opposition, you, opposition lady over there are only 3 options to fix this problem. Either we raise taxes, we increase immigration, or we stop funding to people with disabilities. Which one of these would you do if you were in government? To which you reply, look, Mr. Minister, the real issue here is women's freedom of choice. And then, so it works both ways. So I'm trying to get my point across, you are trying to get your point across. I use the bridge, or you use the bridge, to get away from what I'm saying to get back to what you're saying. Okay? All right. Next one is vague accusations. People do this all the time. Now, this can be journalists, it can be your friends, it can be your children. It can be anybody. So they come up to you and they say, you know, they're vague. So if we take an organization that works with disabled people, so you are the head of an organization dealing with disabled people. Okay? We're in a debate. I say to you, Madam, you have had a whole year to do something about this debate, about this issue, about getting more money for disabled people. You haven't done anything. Why are you here? You haven't done anything. And then your answer,
فعلا أنا جمعت الكثير من الأموال.
Okay, now we go back. I attack you, or I criticize you. You respond with a bridging phrase, which is this one here. You start with the bridging phrase. Then, this part right here, this is where you say what you did. So, I say to you, you are running an organization for disabled people. For the last year, you've done nothing. You've done absolutely nothing. Do you agree with me?
الجواب هو أني كنت أشتغل على دراسة أجمع معلومات ودراسة حول تشخيص في مجال الأولوجيات لكي نقوم بيوم تقييمي لأنه هو من أولويات هذه البرامج للأشخاص في وضعية إعاقة.
Okay. That's the second part. That's this part right here. And then you want to start your answer with this part. This is the bridge. So I'm saying you haven't done anything. You've had a year. You've got all this public money for disabled people. You haven't done anything. You're saying the question we should be asking ourselves is, in other words, the question is not that I've spent a year. The thing that we should be discussing is not that I've spent the last year doing nothing and wasted all this money. The real question that we should be discussing here is, and then you come up with whatever it is you want to say. So you get away from my accusation that you haven't done anything.
السؤال قريته ولكن خصني نجاوب يعني ما زال ما تمكنت من المعلومة كيف يعطيه دور أحد وفهم.
Okay, we'll come back. Hold that tone. Yes. Sorry. Yes.
لتجاوز هذه الورطة من السؤال ربما أطرح عليه سؤال استنكاري. هل اطلعت على الإنجازات التي قمنا بها كجمعية؟ هل اطلعت على الأنشطة التي قمنا بها؟ على المراكز الاجتماعية التي بنيناها؟ ربما أرد عليه بسؤال استنكاري.
That is exactly the thing. So I say to you as head of the organization, look, this government gave you $1 million to spend on your organization. You haven't done anything, right? That's a vague accusation. What does that mean, you haven't done anything? So you just say, look, I'm not going to discuss that. A, it's not true. B, I don't believe it. So what you say is, the real question that we should be discussing here, sir, is all the things that we have done in the last year. What have we done? We have done A and B and C and D. And then you stop. Okay? I'll try again. Yay. Okay, all right, because I want to get back here. All right, yes. I'll be back.
بركي بدها نفس الإجابة، إنه السؤال الذي يجب أن نسأله لأنفسنا إن إحنا كحكومة دعمنا أول إشي بحثنا ودعمنا الأشخاص اللي بيبحثوا عن المعلومات في البلد، برضو دعمنا الخدمات وطلعوا على الخدمات اللي عملناها في البلد. هذا كله شاهد على ما أنجزناه أو ما تم إنجازه. هاي الحقيقة.
Yay! Well done. That's it. Yes. All right, I'm going to go back. I'm not letting you go. So, I still want to know what I'm getting for my million Jordanian dollars. So, for the past year, Madam, you've done nothing in your organization. What do you say to that accusation?
هل قمت بمتابعتي أو بمحاسبتي في هذه الأموال التي استفدت منها؟ وأنا اشتغلت فيها في الكثير من البرامج، مثل برامج التكوين المهني للأشخاص في وضعية إعاقة، ومجالات في الحلاقة، ومراكز للخياطة. يعني أنا السؤال بدي أصدمني في الأول، يعني ما فهمت.
That's all right. I didn't understand in the beginning either. So,
لا أنا بغيت، أنا حبيت. شكرا له، قول له شكرا.
Well, certainly. No. Listen, that's why we're all here. We didn't come to the other part of. I didn't come to the end of the world, way over here to fail. So
where's the money?
Okay. Now, the next one is a very important one that happens all the time. It's called the hypothetical setup, and they set up a hypothesis that has nothing to do with reality. Okay? So they ask you something that could probably never happen. They don't know. It's a hypothesis. Right? So, right here, I think this is, I'm pointing at the right, yes? So you ignore hypotheticals. Just ignore. So you get into trouble, and then you end up talking about what they want to talk about. Because that's the whole thing. I want you to talk about what I want to talk about. Right? So, who haven't I spoken to? You. You. So, right here. Okay? So, you are the critic for finance. Okay, you're not the minister, you're the critic. You're an opposition party. So I'm the minister, and we're having a debate about the economy. And I say, look, if the economy fails to improve, and you come into government, we lose the election, and you become the finance minister, will you commit today to increase the education budget by 50%?
بالتأكيد لا أريد التكهن بمثل هذه الميزانية التي فرضتها. يعني في البداية لا أريد التكهن بالفرضية اللي افترضتها أنه سنخسر 50% من موازنتنا، ولا أريد أن أعطيك إجابة الآن مؤكدة أنه سنلتزم بالرقم اللي أنت تعطينا إياه في حالة نحسن به الاقتصاد أو نحسن به التعليم.
Right, so what I can tell you is, can you add that part in, the what I can tell you? Because otherwise it's a non-answer. All you're saying is I won't answer. So you say, I'm not going to speculate. But then you think of your key messages. What I can tell you is that if we win government, we will make sure that every child goes to school, that every child gets lunch, that every child graduates from school, something, whatever. Okay, so you refuse to speculate, then you tell me what you're going to do. Okay, so once more time. So, if you become government, madam, will you commit today to increase the education budget by 50%?
في البداية لا أحب التكهن بهذه الفرضية أنه سنخسر 50% من موازنتنا أو لا يتحسن الاقتصاد، ولكن إذا جئنا إلى الحكم بالتأكيد سنعمل على تنشيط الاقتصاد في البلاد، وأنه نزيد موارد البلاد. عندنا خطة متكاملة بهذا الشأن، أنه نستطيع وبدون أن نأخذ ضرائب من الناس، أنه وهذه الخطة تعتمد على زيادة التصدير الموارد وإلى دعم قطاع الصناعة وقطاع الزراعة، وبالتالي احنا نستطيع أن نغطي الكثير من العجز الموجود في الموازنة الحالية.
Well done, well done. Okay, now, yes, madam.
بس يعني في هذه الحالة لأن افتراضية أسأل بأنه هل يمكن يعني تكون الإجابة لا أريد التكهن، ما أستطيع أن أقول لكم لكل حادث حديث، لأن هذه حالة افتراضية.
Okay, but that's not speculating. That's a response to a question. You're not saying anything. You can say, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. But if you say we don't know what's going to happen, then you're saying, please, speak some more. I don't have anything to say. I don't want to drive a message. I don't want to say anything. I want you to talk more. So if I say, will you do this? And you say, well, I don't want to speculate. Then I'll say, well, I'll tell you what this government will do. So the point of a bridge is to say, look, I'm not going to speculate. But what I can tell you is, if I get into government, I am going to do, and you take control of the debate. You push out your messages. Okay? Hi. Yes.
بالنسبة للجواب لا أريد التكهن، ما أستطيع أن أقوله لكم هو ألا يصح أن نقول أن يكون جوابنا فيما بعد، أستطيع أن أقول لكم أن يكون عاما كي لا نحاسب. لا تعرف أن المعارضة جيدا تحاسبنا بعد 100 يوم من الحكومة، لذلك أقول مثلا بأننا نلتزم بأن نقوم بخطة استراتيجية لتنمية الاقتصاد، ألا نقول أن لا نلتزم بالحرف، أن نكون عموميين كي لا نلتزم، كي لا ننتقد مرة أخرى.
Well, yeah, that depends on why did you come to this debate? Did you come to this debate just to say, and there's nothing wrong with that, to say, if we get into government, then we'll tell you what we're going to do? Or do you know now? Have you already said? Do you have a platform? It depends on what you want to say before you get to the debate. If this debate is about education, and as a party you have committed to money and schools and food in schools, then you take that opportunity to repeat that promise. If you haven't made any promises, you don't make them, because as you say, then you'll get into trouble. So it depends on the messages you have before you get to the debate.
أريد أن أقوله هو أنه يجب أن نلتزم شيئا ما بالمكر السياسي، هو أن لا نكون واضحين جدا كي لا نحاسب بعد ذلك. هذا ما أريد أن أقوله، أن نكون إيجابيين، أن نكون إيجابيين لكن عموما كي لا نحاسب.
That depends, that happens long before the debate. Okay, moving right along. So the next one, again, is generalizations. If someone says to you, your position on this issue is not clear. So you would say, I'm not sure there's a question in there. And given that there's no question, I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. If you're dumb enough just to make some sort of general statement, get out of the way, I'm going to talk about my stuff. Okay? Now, the next one is very important. When you don't know or you can't say, as much as possible, you never want to say, I don't know. Okay? Because you look bad. So, if you're asked a question, and there are any number of reasons why you can't answer, it could be because you don't know. It could be because you're not ready to say so publicly. It could be because you've been told not to answer the question. There could be any number of reasons why you can't answer the question. What are you going to do about X? You know exactly what you're going to do. What are you going to do about this person who is in jail? We are going to release that person from jail. But perhaps the negotiations are ongoing, or there are any number of reasons. You can't answer it. So, when you have a question that you can't answer, instead of just saying, I don't know, which opens you up to all kinds of criticism, are you dumb? Are you not informed? You're not up to speed? You don't have a plan? So what you say is, look, I can't answer that question at the moment, or something like that. I can't answer that question now. I don't have an exact answer for that, or I can't give you an answer for that today. But, and that's the key word, but, what I can say, and here is where you take control of the debate back. What I can say is that we are committed to making sure that people who are in jail, who should not be in jail, will not be in jail. So this means you are going to free this lady from prison. I can't give you an exact answer on that, but as I just said, what I can say is that we are committed to making sure that people that shouldn't be in jail, etc., etc. So you're giving an answer that is newsworthy. The party of the opposition is committed to making sure that, all these people, and it could be that this means that this young lady is going to get out of jail. You didn't say that. What you said is you're committed to making sure that people who are in there don't get, that they get out of jail. That's news. And that's your position. Okay? So when you're faced with an I don't know, find out a way to say, I can't answer that right now, and then say, but, and then offer an answer. Offer something. Offer an answer to it that leads away and back to where you want to go. Okay? Everybody fine? All right, motoring right along, we are coming to the end. Respecting your opponent in the audience, I won't spend too much time on this, because we've been over this. I think the important part, if I read, there's 3 here and I've only got 1. Are we on the same slide here? Are we on this one here? Oh, when Aisha's eyes get big, it's bad news. That one, yeah. So this is the one that you want to, I keep pounding on, keep repeating, is remember what you want to say. Never go into a debate without having a clear idea of what you want to say. Okay? Because if you don't know, who knows? So you go into that debate and you say, ladies, I'm going into this debate, I'm going into this interview, I'm going to go talk to this minister, and I'm going to talk about 3 things, A, B, and C. And it's clear before you go in. And if you're doing an interview on the radio, by telephone, then write them down. And right there on your table. And they're asking you questions, blah, 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 blah. Number 1. And we believe, 2 left. 2. And then 3. And then go back. And 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, and 2. Keep repeating it. Okay? So, moving right to the next one, driving the debate. This is the whole point of what we're getting to, is Saudi Arabia.
بس نرجع للشريحة بس إذا الترجمة يساعدونا في آخر فقرة في إبقاء الجمهور في الاعتبار.
Which one?
مرة أخرى هي ليست أسئلة ذات فترة إذا ممكن الترجمة تساعدنا فيها. لا اللي هو آخر فقرة 4 في إبقاء الجمهور في الاعتبار. آخر فقرة.
مرة أخرى هي ليست. Once again, this is not a question, not question period. This was not understood.
A smile goes a long way.
It's the question period. This is on page 9, the third slide, page 9. Where you put this is not question period? Yeah.
This is not question. Oh, that. Oh, that's the second one. Oh, sorry. Question period is, you referred a while ago about the Prime Minister answering questions once a month. In the Canadian House of Commons, in the Parliament, there is a thing called question period. Every day that the House is open, that the Parliament sits, the opposition has 45 minutes to ask questions of the Prime Minister or of the government, and it's called question period. And because everybody uses these techniques, the opposition says it's not answer period because there are very few answers that get offered. But that's what it is. Okay? Okay. So, where was I here? All right, so driving the debate. You all right, Barb? Okay. Is this driving the debate? Driving the debate. You got it. The whole point of this, ladies, is to control what's going on in this discussion, conversation, interview, debate, anything. It's to control what's going on. So, these are the rules, at least as I use them. Know what you want to say. You have to know what you want to say. You can't go in there and say, well, let's talk. You go in there with an idea. I am going to say this, this, and this. I don't care what the other guy says. We can talk to him, we can chat, I'm happy, but before I get out of this door, I am going to repeat these 3 things about 10 times. Think of your headline. I want to know what the headline is. What is it that I'm going to see in the newspaper tomorrow morning? She says X. What is that headline? It's got to be clear in your head. If it's clear in your head, then when you're talking, it's always there. I'm trying to make sure that he gets this point. We need more money for education. Headline, more money for education, says opposition member. So, we need more money for education. Yes, good question. You know, we need to invest more in education. Thank you very much. That's a very interesting point. We need more money for schools. You just repeat and repeat and repeat because you want the headline to be opposition member says more money for education. Okay? Simple language. Simple, simple, simple. We want more money. You want to know what I want? I want more money. What am I trying to say? Very simple, Minister. We need more money for education. Simple as that. Okay? One word, money. Or 2 words, education. Or just education.
أو التعليم للجميع.
Education for all.
مشهد.
Okay? Everything you say drives back to those messages. Everything, 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 everything. This is not a conversation. So everything you say, every answer, every phrase is designed to go back to one of those 3 key messages you have. Okay? Then repeat. Be disciplined. This is the hard part because you want to have a chat. You're talking to a journalist and she's there. So, just that stuff aside, just between you and me, between you and, what do you think about, I know the talking points. I know what the message is. Let's just talk you and me. No. You talk you and me after the thing is over. But until you put your microphone away, we are talking business. And my business is these messages. Once we're done, and you put that thing away, this tape recorder away, then we can talk about your family, your kids, sports. But until then, we're talking business. Okay? Be positive. Be positive, obviously. The opposition's there to be negative. Just be positive. There's lots of people to be negative. You want to be positive. Positive people are more fun. And then, obviously, keep an eye on the clock. You don't want to run out of time. How much time do I have to say what I want to say? I've got 10 minutes left. I've had 3 messages, and I've only talked about the first one. I've got to get busy. I've got to talk about these 2 messages in the next 10 minutes. Okay? So, the last one. What happens if you lose control? This happens in debates. So you start, things get busy, they start attacking you, they're talking about all kinds of things, and you're there, all right, this is not good. My message is not getting through. I'm being attacked. I don't feel confident. This other person is intimidating me. So what do I do? So the first thing you do, you go back to your core, to me. Why am I here? I am here to drive 3 messages. I'm being attacked. I can't believe he asked me that question. Forget it. Focus. 3 messages. Go back to your goals. No matter what happens, you don't change your strategy in the middle of the game, ever. You've chosen a strategy, you stick to that strategy. If you lose, too bad. Next time you change your strategy. You can't change the strategy in the middle of the game. Okay? You go in there, you say, this is what I'm going to accomplish, and this is how, and I'm going to do it. Okay? You've got to be, again, use your strongest arguments. Don't get lost. Just, I've got strong arguments that go to those 3 messages. Use them again and again and again. Be disciplined. And this is the thing about bridging, is use those bridges. Find the ones that are useful for you, and then keep going back to your main message. You've just got to be insistent on this. Okay? And then control your body language. Smile, relax. Not easy to do. It's like right now. You're all sinking slowly into the chair. And you're there, geez, this guy just doesn't shut up. I mean, so it's soon over. 2 more slides, coffee time. So you've been very patient. Okay? So you're all breathing and you're all relaxing. Not all of you are smiling here. So you have to remember to smile and relax. And then to refocus, and we're almost done. Remember, there are only 2 main debates. People like to have a yes or a for and an against. So you're trying to make people think, all right, there's those guys and there's me. So if things get busy and there's lots of criticism and too much being said, then you say, look, people, sir, my opponent, this debate is about 2 things. Even if it's about 10 things, you say, this is about 2 things. Your opinions and the right way to do things, my way. Then you make it clear. You take all of those 10 arguments, all of the discussions, the criticisms, you boil it down, you say, all of this is you, and then there's me. This is the choice. So you're talking to your people in the TV land or in the audience. You say, you have a choice. All of these different criticisms, people unhappy, she's saying this, she's saying that, or a clear, simple message, which is what I am saying. Then people can say, all right, now I have a choice. I can choose this, or I can choose her. So you say, point it out, you've got 2 choices. My way or their way. Okay? And that's it. That's enough for today. Thank you very much. You've been very patient.